Hi, there are a lot of photographers who recommend that you should limit yourself to a niche. That's an absolutely right advice as far as business is concerned. But why that doesn't make sense in every case and why that might not be up to date anymore, I want to address in this video. But before I start with the video, please subscribe to my channel. This helps me a lot to continue making videos. As a little info in advance, if you are someone who puts his whole heart and soul into a small sub-area of photography and you are someone who has found his niche naturally, then I do not mean you with the following points. On the contrary, I admire you for so much consistency. But with this video I want to address all young photographers who are still unsure and who are looking for a niche only from a business or coolness point of view. I firmly believe that in times of social networks, more and more the personality of people counts. Presenting people an inauthentic version of yourself on Instagram is absolutely not contemporary anymore and rather boring by now. The perfect lives of travel and fashion influencers can now be exposed as fake by anyone. And the more interesting characters are those who authentically show themselves and use social media as naturally as if it were a meeting between friends. So if you are a photographer who likes, for example, fashion but also humorous street photography, there is nothing at all against showing these two influences in your portfolio and social media. On the contrary, it can help a lot that other people and potential clients perceive you the way you really are, and in some cases you will stand out compared to a pure fashion portfolio of another photographer. For me, for example, a client from traditional advertising will never come into question because in such jobs all sense of the spontaneous is lost and absolute perfectionism is required. I wouldn't be satisfied with the images that would come out of such a job because my photography lives on spontaneity and quick reactions. I feel much more comfortable with both working on documentary and branded social media content, and I have much more fun making the best out of a less than perfect situation. As you build a slightly broader portfolio as a photographer, you will find that all of your images follow a certain theme. Or you will find that you can produce some of those images with ease and fun, while you have to strain and wrench for other images. I don't mean that you should get lazy and just do the easy part of the work. Creating meaningful photos is difficult enough and involves a lot of hard work. But focus on the parts that match your personality and that you enjoy and not just one single niche. Now and then, I photograph motorsports and cars. However, this is a subgenre that doesn't have that much to do with documentary photography or street photography. And certainly some of my followers who are interested in my documentary work and street photos have absolutely no interest in cars. However, through this genre of photography I have learned an incredible amount which helps me a lot with my other work. Also, among my friends there is a small part that is like me, interested in documentary photography and motorsports. And with this part I can of course connect much better and build a closer relationship. A little fun fact from the industry: many freelancers are not booked because they are the perfect specialists for the job a client is looking for, but because the client can rely on them to be pleasant and nice people who treat the models and the whole team well. For my own productions, I also prefer to book freelancers with whom I can stand long working days rather than the best niche specialist who is a terrible person and who I would like to kick off the set after 2 hours, or who I would have to be ashamed of in front of my other colleagues. I don't want to say with this video that as a photographer you should be at home in all genres or do something completely different every day. What I want to say is find your passion, and if that is more than just a small niche, go for it. Once you have found your own path, it's so much more important for your overall creative process than being an absolute specialist in just one niche. Besides, you still have more than enough opportunities to become a specialist in melted cheese on soufflé photography, even though I believe that would be a really lucrative and exciting niche. What are your thoughts on this? Are you more team SEO photographer, or do you also prefer to mess with the algorithms and go the harder but more personal route? Feel free to write me in the comments. I look forward to reading from you. That's it for today. Until next time.